going on, guys? Welcome back to another deck profile with me, Nick Too Groovy, your homie. Today with my boy Richard, Starlord 59. Today we're bringing you a deck profile on one of my favorite leaders. Honestly, not so popular, but recently in the European Regionals summer event, this got a top 16 twice, so I'm bringing it back just for the hype, and bringing you a different kind of list today. It's nothing really conventional, but it's really fun. It could surprise at your locals, so build this if you like. I think it's really fun. I think it's a really fun build that I have today. Found it off of a page on Facebook, made a little modifications to it, and honestly it runs really smooth. But let's get right into it with the leader. If you don't know, Raditz, when he swings his auto, you warp one from your opponent's hand. They choose, so it's hand destruction based. Activate main, you do the top 5. You can add a red or green Nappa, Raditz, or Vegeta off the top 5. If you do, you have to pitch one from your hand. Really great for putting your jaw monkeys into the drop, or your Ribrians, or anything you might not want right now that's dead in your hand for the matchup. You just put it in your drop, and it's no longer a problem for you to just dead in your hand. His Awaken, 4 cost or less. When he's at 4 life, or he has a Unison out with specified cost of 3. Green Unison, excuse me. He can Awaken, you untap one and draw one. And as an Awaken side, same thing as the first auto. You warp one from your opponent's hand, and this is where the front side is really fun, because it says when your opponent has 4 more non-black cards in their warp, this card gains crit. So it's 15 crit that warps one from your opponent's hand each turn. Really nice, really fun. And then your second auto, during your charge phase, you get to bottom deck 4 non-black cards, any order, to the bottom of your opponent's deck, and this card gains triple attack. So if you have 8 cards in their warp, you can bottom deck 4, gains a crit, and it gains a triple attack, so you have a triple attack crit coming at their face. Really, really fun, really strong, in my opinion. People really don't expect the triple attack crit to be that strong, but it really is, especially since it's hand discard. It really functions well with the whole deck that I'm about to show you. But first, I'm going to show you the green cards that you run. You run 3 of these Raditz. These Raditz, you can either take 1 life and pop something on your opponent's board of 1 cost, or you can draw 1 card for every 2 non-black cards in their warp. Really strong for 1 energy. So if you have 6 cards in their warp that are non-black, you get to draw 3 for 1 energy. Just another draw monkey in your deck that's cheaper, and it's a body on the board, so it's a free combo. So it's really strong. Against black, you just pop something on their board that's a 1 cost, like a Kai or the 1-drop Goku, one of those 3, or one of those 2. There's a lot more targets than that, but really, you really want to draw with this because it's just absolutely insane getting that draw power later in the game when you need it. Just really good card. Then you have Homicidal Clones, Green Staple, take a life when you have 5, play it's a blocker and negates the attack. Really simple. Staple in every green deck. Nothing too crazy. As far as super combos go, you want to play these Vegetas because you can switch them off your leader, and you can play for 1 and it makes your opponent pitch 1 from their hand. So another way to get their hand controlled, another way to get their hand destroyed. Really cheap option, just to pay 1, they pitch 1, and then it's a super combo. So when you have 4 or less life, you can just combo it and you draw 1 card. Really great value for what it does. Just be careful when you play it though, because it can get popped really easily. So be sure to be smart with it when you play it or when you use it. 2 Raditz Vengeful Strikes. Functions really well, again, because you're warping your opponent's hand constantly. So you tap 1 green, you play it, and you get to pop 4 costs or less on their board for every 2 in their non-black cards in the warp. So you have 6 cards in the warp, you pop 3 things, 4 costs less. Does not ignore barrier. This card be broken if you ignore barrier. And then it's also a blocker, and it has unique, so you can't just have 3 of these all on the board at one time. And his auto has a limit 1 on it too, so they really didn't want you to spam the board with these. So but again, it's really good board clear. Gets rid of their board. They have a bunch of blockers on there, a bunch of little Kais or Gokus, whatever it may be. This is where it starts getting spicy a little bit. You run these black green Gohans that came in the Bardock anniversary set last year. Really good floodgate. It's a 16K, so it's not getting hit by Resolve Renewed. It will get hit by something like Focus Breakthrough or Dodoria or anything that will hit 2 costs or 3 costs or less. Any of those, but still really strong. If you tap 2, you play it, you negate the attack first, and when you play it, you pitch 1 card, and you can only attack 1 more time for the turn for each color in their energy. So if you're playing a mono deck, really strong. It stops unison and battle card attacks. So you swing lead, you play this, and then you can swing. You only swing 1 more time with anything. Here's your Jaw Monkeys. Good for the search on this side. Just pitch them if you don't need them right now. Tap 2, draw 2. Real simple stuff. Then right here, you have the black stuff now coming in. These one-up Gokus. Really cool. I mean, just basic. You play it, you draw 1. That filters the deck kind of. And there's also a target for something later on that I'll show you. But really just filter for the deck. Also free combo power if nothing to play on. So real good. Then now you have these Demigras. Honestly, I really like this Demigra card. I feel like this should be in every black deck, almost. Only a couple I can think of that it shouldn't go in. It's probably just Sin Mill. But again, tap 2 for Dark Overarm or Overarm 5. You can get that really early on. Really good value for what the card is. Warp something on your opponent's board, you draw 1, and then when it swings, you warp 1 for your opponent's hand. Works well with the leader. Get that triple attack crit going early. Really good, really strong. It's a 30k swing, so each turn this stays on the board, it just gains more value. Now you have some searchers. You play these Time Patrol Trunks. Top 5, you had any black Saiyan 4 cost or less. And again, another free combo on the board, because you're not really going to have a hand sometimes. Sometimes your hand's going to be kind of low. So you kind of want to have combos on the board. That way you're not using your hand instead of your own hand when you're supposed to be doing theirs. But yeah, really good. This searches the Goku, searches any of the black 4-cost Saiyans. Really. It can also add the Gohan as well, because it didn't say mono black, it just says black and the Gohan's black. So you can add those off the top 5. 2 King Vegetas. I'm going to bump this up to 3, just because it's really strong to have in this deck. Because you tap 2 and it warps something from your opponent's hand or their board. So it's kind of like a Demigra, sort of. But it's double strike and it's 19k and has barrier. So it's protected from charismatic and everything. Really strong, 19k double strike. And then when you swing with it, 19k double. And then when they attack your leader card with any card at all, they have to warp 1 from their hand. So that's just another warp out of their hand that they have to commit when they want to swing your leader. Really strong. A staple in the deck. Now, this is where the warping can really start to get annoying for your opponent. Is with this guy. You play on top of the one-drop Goku that I showed earlier. That one-drop Goku works really well with it. It's your main target. You win 4/4. You evolve over this guy. When it's played, you mill the top card of your deck. Excuse me. And if it's a black Saiyan, your opponent warps one from their hand. And also, when your opponent attacks on their next following turn, if it's a black Saiyan, you mill 1. If it's a black Saiyan, they warp another card from their hand. So offensively, during your turn, the first time it's played, it's like a pitch, kind of like a Ribrianne almost in a sense, but it warps to their hand. So again, works well with the leader, works well with the rest of the deck, and it really ends a 20k beat stick. So again, another just really good staple card in this deck. Yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely bonkers what you can do with this.
Inherently, for 1 on play, if you mill right, you rip your opponent in it, it just gains continuous value after every swing.
Exactly.
The RNG of your deck, but that's still a 50% chance chance to warp a card and you really didn't neg out of your hand, that's worth it. Because the problem with the leader is you neg, you don't really get inherent adding, you kind of stay at the same amount. That's why you have to run the drives. But Goku helps limit your opponent for minimal, little to no cost, which is
Exactly.
how the deck benefits.
Yeah, because your leader doesn't draw, so you want to get as much benefit from each card you play as much as possible. And the longer he stays on the board, the more value he gains for 1 energy. So your opponent has to get him pretty fast. Then the one of thwarting, you can't fuse with him in this deck, which is unfortunate. But you can't over him for 1, which honestly you could do, so that way you're not, not just sitting there dead in their hand. So just over him, swing 25k double, pour something on your opponent's board. Also adds up to the leader to get that triple attack, and just staple nearly every black deck. 2 of the making entrance Goku, really basic. Tap 1, negate the attack and play this card. Even if they counterplay it, it still negates the attack and it still goes to your drop. So, and feeds your overwhelm, feeds your drop, feeds all that. And another target for your Goku as well. So that's 6 targets to hit with that 1 Goku. One of the Bardocks, the Floodgate Bardock I call him. You tap 1 Overwhelm. When you play this Overwhelm, your opponent can only attack 1 more time. Battle cards for the turn. You can't play copies of this card for the turn. I mean, it's Overwhelm, so not really worried about playing it again. But it's 25k B stick, and they can only attack on their turn 1 more time with battle cards. Just one of, nothing really too crazy. You need to have 2 or 3 of. 2 Vegetas, bumping these up to 3, maybe to another Faint Greeting. This again, Faint Greeting, warp something on your opponent's hand, feeding the leader. There's also, I believe this Vegeta sends everything adding up to 4 for 1 energy to your opponent's warp. So again, you have a bunch of 1-drop blockers or 1-drop whatevers. Send all 4 to them, that's 4 to your opponent's warp. Just really strong, and it's board cleared for blockers to get rid of for your triple attack. So works really well in conjunction with the leader. Everything in this deck warps something from your hand, and it's just it gets annoying fast for them. Then we get to Black Mass Saiyan. Tap 1. If your opponent plays something with a non-keyword skill, like playing Sin Shenron, and they play something from your deck, it's 15k or less, or the drop. You have to warp 2 cards from your hand. You can also swing, and you take a life. It gains 15, it gains 10. So if you're at 5 and you play this, you swing, you can take a life and awaken. But mainly you want to use this defensively, so you're not worried about them playing anything on your turn, or playing any of their, like the little 1-drop Trunks and yellow Trunks Vegeta, or any of those really, because the longer those aren't on the board, the better it benefits you in the long game. And just having that pressure for your opponent to get rid of them, committing energy to a 1-drop that can add back or can play again the next turn, is really, really tough for them. And then you have 3 of these Bardocks. Probably could have down to 2, but 3 of these Bardocks just to get more draw. Another 20k B stick, and you draw 2 and you discard 1. So again, another filter card, more draw for you, less draw. I mean, you're just going to be able to out-resource your opponent, which this deck really struggled with in mono-green. But this green-black variant is really, really strong. I actually probably prefer this one over mono-green in some cases, just from the sheer amount of warping you can do to your opponent. And then last 3 of the regular battle cards, the Overwhelm Trunks. Draw 2, warp 1 from your hand, you use it playing Overwhelm. 15k B stick, and yeah, pretty much it. Real basic, another filter card, just another swing at your opponent. And these are 2 of the closers that you could use. Really strong cards in their own respect. 2 of these, I say, and just 1 of these is fine. I'll start off with the Shenron first, because the Shenron's actually kind of nutty. So when you play this card for 5, you have to hard cast it. You draw 2 cards, you can choose one of the 3 effects that it has. You can give your leader or battle cards triple strike. Choose up to 4 of your energy, switch them to active mode. and or choose one of my battle cards with energy cost of 3 or less and play them for my drop. So you could theoretically, if you wanted to, play the Trunks or the Raditz from the drop. You're not really gonna do that though. That's really like kind of dead. You're gonna give your leader 15k in triple strike. So what you would do is, say they have 8 in their warp, you tap 5. You would send 4 to the warp first during your charge phase, and then you charge. So now this thing has triple attack and crit. Plays for 5. Give your leader 15k in triple strike. So now that's a 30k triple strike crit, triple attack, right at your opponent, and they're not gonna have the hand to defend it. They're just gonna take 3 triple attack crits. If they have blockers on the board, just clear them out, and then they have no hand. So I mean, it's a really good closer for this as well. You also draw 2 when you play it, so you're kind of not negging because you're giving your leader 15 and triple strike. You draw 2 off of him being played. And if they charismatic it or anything, it's fine because it's on play, so it's not getting counterplayed by a lot. Really, another good closer is this Dark Mask King, the Luge of Darkness. I forgot what promo set this was from, but he's really cool. You can't play from any area using skills, so you got the hard cast 5 again for him. But he's a 25k double strike and with unique. And when this card attacks, you can send 1 card to your opponent's 1 card from your opponent's life to the warp for every 10 cards in their warp. So theoretically, if they have 30 cards in their warp, it's not going to happen. But you can send 3 cards from their life to the warp. So really strong, and it's a double strike, 25k. And again, they're not going to have the hand to defend it. And if you do the triple attack before this, that's too much to really defend against. 25k double and then another triple attack crit with no hand is really hard to take care of. So really strong. There have been cases where it's been dead because you play aggro and you're at 1 life and autos have to resolve fully, so he's just dead in that case. But he's also another burst target for the Black Yellow Goku. There's a lot of targets for that Goku. You're hardly going to be whiffing on it. There have been times where I have, but it's not really too much of a big deal. You're going to just get another one the next turn. And last but not least, the SCR of choice is obviously the Wicked Saiyans. Probably one of my favorite SCRs. Really strong for what it can do. Early discard on your opponent's during your turn 2. When your opponent has 2 or more energy, you can at the end of a combo, you can tap 2, and your opponent has to either choose 4 to switch to rest mode, 4 cards in their board, or it gets played and discard 2, and it gains dual attack and blocker. So it's either you can do this defensively during their turn. You either shut down a whole turn by making them tap 4 things, or they can't tap 4 things during your turn offensively, and they have to pitch 2 cards from their hand as dual attack blocker. 40k at their face turn 2. So really strong, really good value. It does get removed easily though because it has no barrier, it has no protection for itself. So just be careful with who you're playing against and what you're doing. Make sure they have no really response for him being played when you play him, because with Bulma running around, they could counterplay, neg 20, do the whole Bunny Girl Videl. If it gets popped and neg it down 20 again, it's gone, and they get blockers on the board for it. But still really strong, still a really strong SCR. Honestly, there's no other SCR you want to run in here because you search it off the leader's front side. But yeah, that was it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we hope to see you guys on the next deck profile or versus.